Hey guys, I'm Miguel Saldivar, and I'm coming to you with our first ever interview for Two Strokes. It happened to be with Nick Epperson, who's a young man that I rehabbed with for about 4 or 5 months at icare in Flower Mound. It's an incredible story about a 17-year-old high school wrestler, an elite athlete who, after a traumatic fall, ended up here. It's a story of challenges, trauma, and perseverance. And if nothing else, I hope that it allows support for the viewer and maybe even some inspiration for those who still might be going through their battle. Whatever the case, I hope you enjoy it. Take a listen, and thanks for watching. So Nick, tell us where you are now. We'll talk about the other stuff later, but
Okay.
just tell us what the routine is. You just went to Ireland. I mean,
Yeah, I came back from a pretty awesome trip in Ireland. Got to visit New York City a little bit. But everything's pretty much back to normal. I'm living my same old life. Better car now, though.
yeah, I've
Really
seen
nice,
that.
Nice car.
The stick shift Mustang, right?
Yeah.
5.0. So who'd you go to Ireland with?
My dad, my stepmom, and my girlfriend.
You took her too, huh?
Yeah.
She's everywhere. That's awesome.
Yes.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
She's pretty awesome.
Very cool. So let's go to your junior year, because the incident happened, the fall happened junior year going into your senior year, right?
Yeah.
Summer of 2018.
That's right.
So take me to your junior year and what life was like. You know, your normal routine, wrestling practice, off-season workouts, arguing with mom about cleaning up. I mean, was everything just a normal suburban kid doing his thing?
Yeah, I was living life to the fullest. I thought I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
I was talking to my girlfriend before we were dating. That's when we were just talking.
Right.
But we were going on dates and things like that. That's when I was riding my motorcycle. Life was so good. Like, I was wrestling. I had an awesome record in wrestling. Like, I felt like nothing could stop me. I was unbeatable. And then, out of nowhere, it's
Right. Life went on hold for a little bit.
yeah.
So you're 16 years old, junior year. I'm sure that your friends are talking about college, military. What was your vision for after high school?
Well, I already talked to my Marine Corps recruiter, and I was gonna enlist into the reserves and go to college first. And so once a weekend out of every month, I'd go on base and do the MOS I was going to enlist for was electronics and navigation engineering on F-18s.
Yeah.
And I was gonna do that and go to college, and then that was going really well, and I was actually supposed to go up to MEPS the Wednesday after the weekend that my accident happened.
Yeah. But you had plans.
Yeah.
And who inspired those plans? I think that's an easy answer, right? Who inspired those plans?
Yeah, my dad. Well, he served 20 years, and he climbed up to a gunnery sergeant, and he was an LAV mechanic for the first couple of years, and then when I kind of entered the picture, he kind of slowed down his role and went to recruiting so he could stay home side.
Awesome.
And things like that.
So now your mom's in service too, more on a city or county level.
Yeah.
What does she do?
She's a current police officer. She did 4 previous years at Highland Village.
Yeah.
And even though she already had levels of experience under her belt, when you transfer to another city into their police department, you're still technically a rookie, but she actually got Rookie of the Year this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that this was her first year in that transition. I mean, when I met y'all, I thought that she had already had time in the Corinth side. All right, so we're moving into summer of 2018. Was it like an abandoned old military fort, or is it an active?
Yeah, it was kind of an abandoned old military fort, and it was called Fort Travis, and it was kind of more of like a museum, or
Yeah.
not like a museum, but like you could go look at it. It was
Right.
kind of gated
A tourist
off.
attraction, kind of.
Yeah.
And who went with you?
Well, my dad and stepmom and kids dropped me and my best friend off because he went with me.
Okay.
They dropped us off at the fort to go just to check it out, and then they went off to go check something else out.
Gotcha.
So it was just me and my best friend Hayden at the
Now,
fort.
is he the same young man that came to that I met? Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Okay.
And he's in the Marine Corps now.
Yeah. Like, what's that relationship with you and him now?
It makes me feel proud that I mean, it was he was there when my accident happened, but it makes me proud that it didn't set him back.
Yeah.
He could go and fulfill our
Yeah,
dream.
dude, that's amazing. So leading up to a fall, what's your last memory before things went blank?
Before I fell, my last memory was I think we were just, because we kind of broke the rules and we kind of climbed over the fence to look
Yeah.
inside of the
You're s-
bunker.
17 years old.
Yeah, and then coming out, we weren't even on top of it. We had gone on top just to look around, but then we went back underneath to go look inside, and then when we like hopped the fence, like almost it seemed like we were leaving.
Mhm.
Like that was my last memory.
Gotcha. And so life goes dark, or time goes dark for a moment, and almost like just skips right to you coming out. Did you wake up on the scene? Did you wake up in the hospital? I mean, was there an induced coma? What was the start back for you like?
The first memory that came when it kind of flashed back again after I was being wheelchaired through the hospital, and that was my first memory. It's kind of like glimpses.
What do you remember about what the doctor said your capabilities would be, or your level of damage was? And that might be a lot to remember. I like you said, I'm sure you were on painkillers and sedation and.
Yeah, it was. I don't think I was awake for that part. My dad said that, I'd open my eyes and I would respond with kind of gibberish.
Yeah.
And things like that, but I really only remember like getting wheeled out to the ambulance to go to icare.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And how much time did you spend at that hospital?
It was a week and a couple of days, I think.
Okay.
Because it took me that's when I think I woke up out of my coma. And when I
Gotcha.
woke up out of my coma, they tried to get me doing things, and then once they thought I was good with what
Right.
they were trying to get me, they sent me to icare.
Yeah. So what was that transfer like? Was it in a helicopter, in an ambulance? Oh, you said they picked you up in an ambulance,
Yeah.
right? So were you awake for that ride? Or did you?
I was. My dad let me watch my favorite TV show, Supernatural, on his phone.
That's awesome. Okay. That's
And,
very cool.
I mean, my brain was like so like jumbled. I didn't know why I was in an ambulance.
Yeah.
I wasn't questioning those things. I felt my body felt relaxed. Like I was just. It was kind of. I don't know. I
So-
don't know how to describe it.
Maybe maybe this is kind of like it. I do remember periods of when my wife was in a panic because my neurologist had said, we can try this medicine, it'll either work really well, or if his tear is too severe, then there could be permanent damage. So I remember watching my wife in a panic, but I almost felt euphoric, like almost high, untouchable, kind of, nothing was really going to throw me at that point.
Mm.
And it wasn't a confidence, it was just a relaxed feeling, and it might have been the medicines, but I can kind of see what you might be saying about that 3-hour drive up to icare.
Yeah, with you saying that's what I kind of felt like my dad was telling me what I fell, and I had fractures in my head. It didn't throw me off. I was just like, what?
Yeah. So you hadn't quite realized the muscular deficiencies, right, on your face.
Yeah. Or the deafness in my right ear.
So as you and Hayden at the fort, y'all are goofing off. What was his recount? I mean, what did he say you did that kind of put you in harm's way?
So there was this kind of gutter on the edge, the very edge of the fort, on top of it, and I can definitely say I do like taking care of my shoes.
Okay.
And making them look good. And since I don't remember it, he said that I was on the edge cleaning my shoes in the gutter, kind of like wiping them off.
Yeah.
And he said when I went and switched to clean the other foot, that's when I slipped and fell. And he said that I didn't completely fall. I grabbed onto the ledge, and he tried to when he went and tried to grab for me, that's when my hand slipped and
Yeah.
I fell.
So when he told that story, what was his demeanor? I mean, that's a traumatic event that he's gonna remember. So when he told you, I mean, what was his posture? What was his emotion?
It was, even telling me, the one who fell, it was very hard for him to get it out.
Yeah.
Because, we're still best friends.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for him to get it out. He got emotional. Because he said when I fell and he went down and hopped the fence, because I hit the fence and then fell inside
Mm-hmm.
of the fence. When he hopped the fence, blood was coming out of my nose and ears, and I was unconscious, and he was just freaking out. And
Yeah.
the first thing he did was call my dad.
So were there other tourists that were? I mean, I know that you wouldn't remember this, but did he say there were other tourists there that were calling 911, or how did they get notified?
I think that's what he did. There was
Okay.
a couple. He said there was a couple walking by, and he threw his phone to them and told them to call my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they got a hold, and then my dad called the cops. And
Well, so news getting back to your mom. How did that happen?
I think my dad called her or texted her, and she told me her point of view. She was sitting in a restaurant right over here
Mm-hmm.
when she got the call, and when he told her what happened, she dropped her food, her fork, and she dropped everything. She went to her car and drove straight to her house. So because she was on duty,
Mm-hmm.
and so she went straight here, got in her normal clothes, and went to the police department to tell her higher uppers what was going on, and that she had to go to Galveston right now.
Yeah.
And her chief saw how unstable she was and how emotional she was, and so he had another officer take her to Galveston.
That's awesome. So you transferred to icare. My first impression of you, it might have been your second day there. I was still inpatient. You didn't look scared. I remember them wheeling you in, and I remember the gait belt and the tube and paralysis on one side. You looked confused. So what was your state of mind? You had transferred to icare. You're starting to gain like awareness of what's happening. You're near home again. You're in Flower Mound. What's your state of mind? What are you thinking about your healing process and what a maximized recovery would look like for you?
Well, when I first got there and I started to realize things, I wasn't on a high level, my mind wasn't on a high level thinking process. It was more of like, why can't I walk?
Yeah.
Why can't I? Why am I here? Why can't I leave? You know,
Yeah.
things like that. And like, why am I not as strong as I was?
Right.
So that being my highest level of thinking, that was my main priority, was to get up and walk.
Just get these little things back.
Yeah, get up and walk. Gain some weight back.
At what point did you see yourself excelling so much that you could say, okay, this is what I know I can get back? I do remember at one point, I still lack coordination on my right side. I can't throw a ball worth of crap, okay? But I remember you being in the hallway and chunking these bean bags like you were warming up in a bullpen, right? And I was like, holy crap, he's already doing that. I mean, was that, I don't know if you remember when you were doing that, but at that point, did you realize I have a chance? I'm gonna get, 98%, 99% of my body back.
Yeah. I never really had even at the beginning, I never really had a standard of
Okay.
where I didn't set a standard, or I didn't like set a point. I was like, I'm gonna get here. It was more of, I'm gonna do whatever I can. Like, I was like, in my mind, I was like, there will be a point where I can't go any further, where I can't
Yeah.
heal anymore. There's nothing more I can do. But
So you
I'm
had
gonna
already
keep
accepted
fighting.
that there would be a limit, but you're not
Yeah.
going to name it yet.
Yeah, that I maybe couldn't have walked again, or I would
Yeah.
never have the same balance, or I could never drive again. But I just pushed myself and fought as hard as I could to get where I am now.
So you fight, and you're outpatient now, and then you're asked to go speak to a team of high school wrestlers that are probably some of them less than 6 months younger than you, some as young as maybe 14, 15. So how do you talk to kids that really, for the most part, won't be able to identify with what you've gone through? What did you say to them?
Well, after I told them my story, I started talking to them about, because what I learned from that, I told them to never, to never take anything for granted. Like, don't hold grudges. Like, live life to the fullest. Like, you never know when your life is gonna end. Because I was 17 and I could have died.
Right.
Like, it could be a snap at any point in time. You need to love everything and everybody. I started being thankful for every single little thing there was. Just because it all could have been taken away.
Right.
Just like that.
So on the daily, I was asked this question and I didn't really know how to answer it. My answer was no. But I was asked, are you so normal now that you forget? Do you ever forget that happened? Or is it something that you kind of carry with you and you cope with moment by moment? And
Sort of like that. Like I don't always. There are sometimes I forget. Like on the Ireland trip, like everything was just so beautiful and life was so good that bad part of life kind of faded away. I just forgot it happened.
yeah,
But there's moments where I remember that it happened, and
right.
little things like the not fully recoveration of my face and things like that.
But you're symmetrical now, dude. I mean, I have the progression of pictures that we took together, and it was gone on this side, and then slowly it started to rebuild. So if I were to give you a book, and it said, you're not you, by the way, in this hypothetical situation, okay? I give you a book, and it talks about a kid named Nick that fell 30 feet and was unconscious and had brain damage, fractures in his skull, loss of hearing, damage to his vocal cords, needed to be on a feeding tube, couldn't walk. And 8 months later, he could do everything but wrestle. Would you read that book and say that kid is an absolute miracle? Yeah, me too. So, service is in your bloodline. Your dad served in the military. Your mom serves locally. What are your goals now? Past college, or maybe, I mean, you can change them whenever you want. But what's your outlook right now?
Well, I told my my counselor. They're not called counselors in college. They're called something else.
Oh yeah, your advisor.
Yeah, advisor or something. I told her, you're gonna think this is funny, that I was looking into airplane mechanics.
Really?
As my career. Yeah. So.
Well, have I got opportunities for you? That makes me happy. I hope that you do, especially knowing that before any of this, your intent for career in the military was to be a navigation specialist.
To work on airplanes. Yeah.
Sure, dude. And it's a great career. Last question. All right. So, I'd say you're near 100%. You probably weigh about 125 now.
I weighed myself earlier today. I was 113.
Okay. So I'm 206. I weighed myself at the doctor's today. If I gave you 45 seconds, could you pin me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you could.
If I was allowed to wrestle.
Yeah, but we're not allowed, so we can't try that. But I'm glad we can't, because I imagine you'd pin me.
It'd be a 50-50. Because you got the weight.
Yeah.
On me. But.
All right. Thank you so much, dude. I'm super proud of you and your buddy Hayden. Your folks are awesome. You've come a long way. So, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the story. This is Nick Epperson. He's a lion heart of a kid, and I hope you all enjoy it. If you see it, you enjoyed it, spread the word. People need to hear these stories. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.